Today, we're going to be talking about the respiratory system and all of the functions and structures that you need to know for your upcoming lab exam. But before we get started, I just want to say that if anything I say contradicts your objectives, or if I say something that is or is not on your objectives, please reach out to your professor or come into the lab for further assistance. And with that, let's get on to the video. To start us off in talking about the respiratory system, we're actually going to start up here with our sinuses. Now, a quick note that I always want to mention is remember symmetry, whether something is a left or a right. But with that, let's get into naming some of these sinuses. Here is our frontal sinus, ethmoid sinus, sphenoid, maxillary, and mastoid. And again, these will have a left and a right. Let's move on to our next models. To begin, let's look at this. Now this area right here is going to be our nasal cavity. Within that, we have some other structures as well. But before we dive into those, let's look up here. These are going to be some more sinuses. We have our frontal sinus, our ethmoid sinus, and then our sphenoid sinus. Moving on, like I said here, in our nasal cavity, we're going to have our superior concha, our middle concha, and our inferior concha. Those sinuses can also be indicated here as well. Our frontal, ethmoid, and sphenoid. Next, let's talk about the larynx and surrounding structures. To start us off, let's turn it around. This structure right here is going to be our epiglottis. And below it, right here, this space or gap is going to be the glottis. Spinning us around a little bit, we have this bone right here. That is going to be our hyoid bone. The space from underneath the hyoid bone to about right here is going to be the larynx. This portion right here is going to be the thyroid cartilage. It comes to a bit of a point. That is a laryngeal prominence. Turning the model around, right here is going to be the cricoid cartilage. This is a portion of our trachea, and of course, we have the tracheal cartilages. Spinning us around to the back, we can see another angle of our thyroid cartilage. We also can see from here, up top, to here is another view of our larynx. And then we can see these two right here are our urethroid cartilages. This is also another view of our cricoid cartilage. We have another view of our trachea, and we can see that our tracheal cartilage does not go all the way around, but is rather more like a C shape. One last thing to mention, taking the epiglottis out for better visibility, this right here is going to be known as true vocal cords or the vocal folds. Moving on, let's pull together some of the structures we've already learned onto this larger model. So to start us off, we can see some of our sinus, our frontal and sphenoid sinus. Next, we can see our nasal cavity, as well as our superior, middle, and inferior concha. Next, we can see our pharynx, which is divided into nasopharynx, from here to here, oropharynx, from here to here, and the last little bit is our laryngopharynx, from here to here. We can also see our trachea, and within that, we have our vestibular fold and our vocal fold. We can also see the branch of the esophagus as well. Additionally, we can see structures such as our hyoid bone, epiglottis, laryngeal prominence, and thyroid cartilage, as well as this whole structure right here being our larynx. Next, let's take a look at the lungs and the structures that surround them. Starting up top, we have the hyoid bone. We're also going to have our thyroid cartilage and our trachea. Moving on down, we're going to have our right lung and our left lung. Now, those lungs are subdivided into lobes. Two of those lobes are going to be on the left lung. We have the superior lobe of the left lung and the inferior lobe. On the right lung, we have three lobes: the superior lobe of the right lung, the middle lobe, and if we turn it a bit this way, we can see here the inferior lobe of the right lung. Let's take the lung apart and look at some of the structures that are inside. Looking first at this piece here, which I pulled from this part of the lung, we can see up top we have our vestibular fold, and down here we have our vocal fold. With that, let's take a look at the inner part of the lung. To start us off, right here, we are going to have our primary bronchus. Branching off from that are the secondary bronchus. One more branch removed from that is the tertiary bronchus. All the way down at the bottom are the bronchiole. These little structures within the lungs are the alveoli. And here we can see the hilum of the lung. This is where all the vasculature and bronchus enter the lungs. We can also see it on this side, although it looks different with the lung reflected. Alright, so that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But don't forget to use your resources, and good luck on your upcoming lab exam.